Hello, my babies. Welcome back to another episode. It's your girl MamMaJ, aka MamMaJ, and you are listening to MamMaJism. Thank you so much for deciding to listen in on this talk of love and open conversation. So let's get into it. Okay, for starters, I wanted to just go ahead and apologize for the technical difficulties that were last week. I'm actually going to get into the tea as to why publishing last week was so strange, because I did make the switch, which you'll find out what the switch is in a second. But I didn't realize that when they were asking me for which file was the master file, because I record two separate files, one for the meditation and one for the actual episode. I just find it easier that way. I'm not limited in ways. So when it was asking me which one was the master file, I didn't realize they were asking me if this is the master file, like this is the only part of the file that we're going to publish. I didn't realize that. And I was kind of late to paying attention to when the episode actually aired, because I, set all that stuff up days in advance. So when I did finally look, I was like, wait, 9 minutes? But the meditation was 9 minutes and the actual episode is 15. So it definitely should be more than 9. So I had to kind of figure out what was going on there and made the switch. So hopefully this episode finds you well. And also just a reminder, if ever there is an audio discrepancy or you feel like you're not getting the full episode, because I do purposely want the meditation to be with the actual pod. All of my episodes are also available on YouTube now. Not all of them, but from like episode 42 and up, they are on YouTube. So if ever you feel like you're not getting the full experience, you can head on over to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe if you do, okay? Head on over to YouTube and the episode will be there. It'll still be split into 2 different categories because I like to keep my playlists separate. But you will be able to find it on there, just in case. So this week it might be a similar situation because I'm trying to work with the website to figure out a way for me to upload both for one episode instead of doing like part 1's meditation, part 2's so bear with me. We're figuring things out. It's new, it's different, it's a challenge, it's change, it's happening. Okay. So just bear with me. Now on to the episode, right? So let's hop right into it, okay? We're going to go ahead and get started with why I decided to leave Anchor. I'm going to start with some pros and cons. I'll start with the cons first because we always want to end on a positive note, right? So some cons. At least this is what used to be the issue. You used to not be able to control your content. It would be owned by Anchor, but I believe recently they changed it, so that's not really something that you have to worry about. They had limited stats. Apparently, if you allowed Anchor to put your podcast into the system for Apple Pods, it would be under Anchor. It wouldn't be under you as the author. So all the stats and all that stuff goes directly to Anchor, which I guess is how they show you the stats. But even still, it's good to have it for yourself and to use your own email and to get that stuff sent directly to you. So, for example, when it came time I never got any information from Apple from Apple Podcasts about how my podcast was doing. But with Spotify, I would still receive emails and stuff. So I don't know, but Spotify does own Anchor now, apparently. So I'm assuming that's why. Ultimately, you have to be wary of things that are free, because at the end of the day, free things are not actually free. You are giving up something in some way. And also another con for me was that everything I did was attached to Anchor. Yes, I know I had Anchor ads in my episodes, but I didn't like that they had, I had to have the Anchor logo in my podcast artwork, even though they did give me an option to take it off. But I remember clicking it, but it would still show up. So I'm like, what's tea? And then even when I do my show notes and stuff, there's a little thing at the bottom that they automatically put into your episodes when you upload that say to check out Anchor. So just extra advertisement that I did not sign up for and didn't say was okay. Now on to some pros. I really do appreciate Anchor for what it is. It is the perfect app /website for beginners of podcasting, whether you just kind of want to get a feel for what podcasting is about, or if you just want to do it for funsies, right? Not everybody wants to make podcasting like a career. And then the publishing tools that they have, top notch. I do enjoy the fact that you are able to utilize recording, editing, putting in music, all that stuff. They really do have it all set up for you. Now, I personally use GarageBand to edit and do all that stuff with my podcast. But for someone who doesn't have the proper tools to edit, Anchor is the perfect place for you to get that all settled. So what I said in the ads were true. I do think that Anchor is the perfect place for people to get started. And then also, being able to make money. I made a decent amount of money. As my listenership slowly grew, I started to see more of it. So that is always a cool thing. But again, you do have to be wary of the fact that it's free for you to hop on this platform and they allow you to make money. There has to be a catch or a caveat somewhere, right? So always something to be wary of. Now, what made me actually decide to leave Anchor? I'm sure most of you are familiar with the app Clubhouse, unfortunately only available for people with iPhones at the moment. And so I've been following a lot of podcast groups and really utilizing the app to get more insight on, how to better the podcast experience for all of you, and just to make sure that I'm doing everything I need to do as a podcaster to elevate it as well, right? So what seemed to be the topic of conversation for most people in those rooms, and the thing that they could all agree on, was to be wary of Anchor, and namely just to be wary of when they advertise it as free. So there was a specific woman named Carla. Her is at Carla Wilmaris, CarlaWilmaris. And I was in one of her rooms and she was talking about how, making that transition from Anchor to something that would elevate you and set you up in the long run. So on her Instagram, she actually has a link that links you to a template on how you can make the switch from Anchor to Libsyn specifically. So it just kind of takes the guesswork out of figuring out what steps you need to take in order to actually move on to a different site. And so I really appreciated and enjoyed that because it made it easier for me to figure out how to make the switch. So why Libsyn? One of the main reasons was because of the easy integration and using her template. And with her template, she also gives you a code that you can use so you can get the first month free. So I thought that was really cool. And I guess to add, yes, Libsyn is a site where you do have to pay, but they have different subscription branches where you can figure out how much storage you need in order to post your podcast and things like that. So before, I used to scoff when people were like, do you pay to publish your podcast somewhere? I'm like, child, no. If I'm gonna post a podcast, it's gonna be free somewhere. But I do see and understand how important it is now to kind of invest, right? To invest in what it is that I'm doing if I want this to be a long-term thing. So now I have more creative control over the things that I have been working so hard to produce, right? And the support team is fast and super friendly, and they have been assisting me along the way, which is why hopefully I figure things out by this week to get this episode to you in a way that makes sense. So that is just a little bit about why I decided to make the switch from Anchor to Libsyn. And if you are a pod friend listening in and you're using Anchor and have been considering making the switch, I can keep you posted on Libsyn and how I feel about it. There are countless other publishing websites you can use to publish your podcast, some that are free and some that you need to pay for a certain amount. It's really just whatever you're into and what you feel comfortable with. All right. With all of that being said, the challenge for this week is to, step one, think about an avenue in your life. So this could be finances, hobbies, work-related things, etc. Step two, research and find ways where you can elevate that experience. So this podcast, for example, right? I decided that I wanted to elevate and move to a place where I can think long-term with MamMaJism. So I decided to switch publishing hosts. So that was a way for me to elevate my podcasting experience. And step three, invest. Now, I know when you hear me say invest, you think, oh, money, money, money. If you don't have the funds, that is okay. We have all been there before. But when I say invest, I'm not just talking about investing money. I'm talking about investing time, investing effort, all the things in order to help you to become successful, right? So when we're talking about investing, I really just mean making a plan, figuring out if you don't have the funds to make whatever you're trying to elevate happen. Set up a savings account, or maybe redirect money that you have going to subscription services or something. Like, figure out ways to make it happen, because no one's going to make it happen but you, right? So, get to it. And that really is a challenge. I know it's like broken down into steps, but I feel like it kind of needed some explaining a bit. So just to reiterate, think about an avenue in your life, research and find new ways where you can elevate that section of your life, and then invest in that elevation. Time, money, whatever the case may be, whatever fits to your situation. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, sorry about the discrepancies of last week. But this is how we learn, right? So until next time, it's your girl signing out. Bye bye. Thank you for listening. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and follow all the socials at MamMaJism. That's MamMaJism. If you decide you want to financially support me, on my accounts you'll be able to find out how. Thanks in advance. Until we meet again, please be kind to one another. And from the bottom of my heart, I love you. I'm feeling so